Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Epsom Downs here on Friday. It is May the 31st, 2019. I'm going to look at all the races on the program today from Epsom, including the Oaks. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me tomorrow for my Derby preview video. It's an excellent card tomorrow from Epsom also, and I'm going to look at all those races, including the Derby, so go check out that video. And on Sunday in France, we have the Prix du Jockey Club, which is the French Derby, and I have preview selections for that card here on YouTube also. And setting our sights just a little bit further to next week, starting Thursday, it's the Belmont Stakes Festival here in New York at Belmont, and I'm going to look at all the stakes, big races next week from Belmont. Can't wait for that. But today's card from Epsom is very good here on Oaks Day. You're going to see some nice prices, I think, come in. So we're going to look at almost all the races. The only race we're not going to look at is race number one, the 2 o'clock, because it's a very, very tough 2-year-old race, and I think you could go a few ways in this one, and I just wouldn't feel confident giving out a tip in this one. I only give out tips that I feel 100% confident. If there's one slight bit of doubt, I'm not going to give it out. So we're not going to look at the 2 o'clock, the first race. So we're going to set our sights to race number 2, the 235 from Epsom, which is the Investec Mile Handicap. It's a Class 2 handicap going for a purse $64,000. Races for 4-year-olds and upward. Horses raised 86 to 105. 15 horses are going 1,700 meters or a mile and 1/16 on the good turf course. It's going to be on the firmer side of good, so good to firm, I want to say. There was some rain earlier in the week near Epsom, but after that it's going to be a beautiful weekend, and the ground's going to be good. Like I said, probably good to firm at post time here. But my top selection here, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Fire Mammoth. Can't speak, pardon that. I'm going to go Affirm Mammoth. I'm going to go 481 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 481 Tri-Cash Trifecta. I say trifecta, but it's basically my top 3. So say my top selection of 4-horse Firm Mammoth is withdrawn. My top selection would be the 8-horse Nikolaus. So it would go so on and so on. But that's the top 3 in my eyes, 481. But the top selection 4-horse for a Mammoth. I believe I said that right again. Shane Gray's on this one for David O'Meara. 7-year win by Cape Cross. The horse's most recent appearance came the 16th of May at York. A 1 mile in a Class 2 handicap. He finished second by 1.5 lengths. He liked the firmer going that day. He closed up well from a mid-pack post draw, and I thought he ran a good race there. I think he's in a good spot to win today, and also he has a good post draw, which is the key to win here at Epsom. He don't want to be drawn too high. Before that, he ran on the 4th of May at Thirsk on the softer side of good going. 1 mile in a Class 2 handicap, and he finished 11th by 6 1/4 lengths. He had a high weight, he didn't like the going, and he just never got into it. It just wasn't the day to win first off the break. And then before that, he ran on the 15th of December at Newcastle, 7 furlongs on a Class 2 handicap. The horse finished 4th by 3 1/4 lengths, and he just couldn't get into it at the end. It wasn't the day to win. And then Chelmsford, 1 mile to Class 2. He finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths. The horses in front of him just ran that better race, but I thought he still ran decently that day. And another race he ran before that, a decent 3rd place finish at Chelmsford in December. He hasn't won in quite a while. He's 2-0 in 2019 so far, and he's 18-0 in 2018. So let's go all the way. We have to go back a few years to his last victory. But he's been winning these decent races as of recently, other than the Thirsk race. I think he gets a good poster here today. He's a good weight, and I think he can get a piece fit. So at 8-1, I'll take my stance with him. I think the 8-horse Nikolaus is another horse you could put on the ticket. I think he's loaded also. James Doyle's on this one for William Haggis. This horse, he hasn't started since September, but he ran, his most recent outing was a win at Yarmouth very nice ago in the 1 mile trip. He won for fun. It was a very good race with high weight. Before that, he ran at York during the Ebor meeting in a 1 mile Class 2 handicap, and then he ran absolutely crap, finished 17th by 28 lengths, and he walked under the line. He just couldn't get into it there. But he also had a wide post draw, and then before that, Goodwood 7 furlongs in a Class 2 handicap. I thought he ran a decent 3rd place finish with low weight. And then he went at Salisbury, Newbury very nicely over the summer. He's the kind of horse, he likes the mile trip. He's getting the extended mile 16th today, which should suit him. Good poster, and I think, like I said, 7-1. If he's fresh off the break, I think he could also get a piece of it. I'll definitely use him in the plays pot if I would play it. But to recap my selections for the second, the 235 from Epsom, it's the Investec Mile Handicap. As the top selection, I'll use the 4-horse for a Mammoth. I'm going to go 4-8-1 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta, and like I said, in the plays pot, I would go 4-8. So now let's get to race number 3 from Epsom. Race number 3, the 310 from Epsom. It is the Group 1 Coronation Cup. It's a Group 1 race for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $569,500. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses heading the post, a distance of ground of 2,400 meters or a mile and 1/2 on the turf course. My top selection here, I think it's a very good race. I'm going to go to the number 7 horse, Old Persian. I'm going to go 7-10-3 in the TriCash trifecta. 7-10-3 TriCash trifecta. Top selection 7 horse Old Persian. Godolphin Doan. Charlie Appleby trains. James Dawg gets leg up on this 4-year-old colt by DeBowie. The horse's most recent appearance came the 30th of March at Maidan. A mile and 1/2 in the Group 1 Dubai Shahima Classic, and the horse won by 1.5 lengths. And, he just was much the best that day. He was the favorite and just ran easily. It was a very good run on the front end for this horse. Before then, the Group 2's Dubai City of Gold at Maidan, a mile and 1/2 March 9th. He won by nose. He wasn't 100% crank that day, but he still quickened up nicely and he got the victory. Out of all his victories, it was probably not the best, but he still got the job done. And then at Doncaster on the 15th of September, a mile 13/16 in the Group 1 St. Ledger, he finished 5th by 11 lengths. He was drawn too wide, and I just don't think he stayed the trip. It wasn't the day to win. And then at York, 1 mile and 1/2 in the Group 2 Grey Voltaire Stakes, he won by head, and again, he got there in the end. Wasn't the best race in the world for him, but he still got the job done. It was an improvement, though, for the race before, which was the Irish Derby, where he finished 6th by 4 1/4 lengths, and he just never got into it. It was a very quick turnaround also. Just a week earlier, he ran the King Edward Stakes at Ascot, which he won very nicely, but, the quick turnaround I don't think was probably to his liking, because after that, you didn't see this horse for another almost 7.5, 6, 7 weeks, but I like him off a little bit off the break here today. He's a good poster. He'll stay the trip well, and I think he get a piece of it. So I'll use him along with the number 10 horse, Latidar, 4-year-old by DeBowie. Frankie Dettori gets leg up for John Gosden and Andrew Lloyd Webber. The horse's most recent outing came at York on the 16th of May, a mile and 1/4 on firm ground in the Group 2 Middleton Stakes, and the horse won by a neck. Was 33 cents to the dollar. She got the victory that day, but again, she wasn't 100% cranked also that day. If you backed her that day, you almost had a heart attack at the post, just nearing the post, because it looked like she was going to get beat. But it looked like Rawada was going to get to the source that day, but she still held on. She got the job done, but, like I said, not 100% cranked, and probably not at the distance she likes. I think the 1.5 mile trip should suit her well. She also gets a nice little weight break of 123 pounds here. Before that, she ran in the Group 1 British Champions Affiliate and Mare Stakes at Ascot, a 1.5 miles on very heavy ground back in October. She finished 3rd by 1 3/4 lengths. She was sent off as the even money favorite, and she just never ran. Magical ran a hell of a race. Even Cornet, the stablemate, ran that better race. This horse, she just never got into it. The ground probably wasn't to her liking. I think the dry ground, so they should suit her well. And then the St. Ledger at Doncaster, mile 13/16, first time against group quality horses. She just finished 2nd by 2 1/4 lengths. She just couldn't stay the trip. Q Garden just ran that better race, but I thought for affiliate to finish 2nd in that race, she still ran a decent effort. She'll like the post. She has a good poster today. She'll like the going. If she could get around Epsom, which can be a little bit tricky at times, I think she'd get a piece fit. Just keep in mind, Frankie Dettori and John Gosden did win this race most recently last year with Cracksman, who had a very... Go back and watch the replay of Cracksman in this race last year, because, talk about a trip. And for him to still manage to win that day was impressive, but he just, hit his head going out the gate, looked dazed for the first half mile or first 3 furlongs or so, but for him to fight back at the end, he ran a hell of a race there. But, the connections know how to win this race, trainer and jockey. At 7-2, I'll put him on the ticket also. Even the 3-horse Defoe, I like him 3rd best here. He could possibly win, but I'll have to step in loads of class here. Andrea Dazzini gets the leg up. Roger Varian trains. He's coming out of the wrong line. Jockey Club Stakes in Newmarket a few weeks ago, going the Mile 4 trip, and he finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths behind Communique. And, he stayed the trip well. He needed that extra turn of foot, which he didn't have, but he improved off the race before, which came in the Surprise Stakes at Newbury, where he finished 4th by 4 lengths behind Marmello, who's running back in this one today. Marmello ran a hell of a race in the front, went with Jean Massé, the veteran, up. But this horse, he just, never ran. Again, wet going probably had something to do with it. He's the kind of horse, he likes a drier going. He's going to get it today. If he could find a trip and, jump that extra numbers to compete with these other good horses here, he could possibly win. Like I said, maybe I'll use him on the place pot, but he's definitely a horse you want to use on the bottom of your TriCast, because he can definitely get 3rd here. But to win, I'm on the fence about him, but he's still, I'd still back him off next start out wherever it would be in a Group 2 or Group 3. But he's gonna have to jump up in a lot of class here. Like I said, possibly on the plays pod, but I'll definitely use him in the bottom of a TriCast. But to recap my selection for the third, the 310 from Epsom, it's Group 1 Coronation Cup. As a top selection, I'll take the 7-horse Old Persian, and I would also use the 10-horse Latidar. I'll go 7-10-3 in the TriCast trifecta. To race number the 345, the fourth race from Epsom. It's the Investec Wealth and Investment Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a purse $77,000 race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 11 horses going 2,000 meters or a mile quarter on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Elector. I'm going to go 5-4-2 in the TriCast trifecta. 5-4-2 TriCast trifecta. Top selection, the 5-horse Elector. 4-year-old gelding by Dancel. Ryan Moore gets leg up for Sir Michael Stout. The horse's most recent outing came the 4th of May at Newmarket, a mile and 1/8, 1,800 meters on the Rolling Mile in a Class 2 handicap. First off, a little bit of a long refreshing. The horse won by a neck there. He had to be used a lot at the end, but he had a good low weight, and he stayed the trip well. It was a very good run. Getting Ryan Moore up today, coming here, getting the extra furlong to a mile and a quarter should suit this one. And I think second off the break, this gelding could really get something going. Before that, this horse ran the 10th of October at Kempton, 1 mile on the poly track in a Class 3 handicap, and he finished third by 4.5 lengths. He just never got into it until very late in the run. He ran well, but I think he wanted more trip that day. And then before that, in Class 3 Kempton, a mile 3/8, 2,200 meters, September 27th, he finished third by 1/4 lengths. Again, he just kind of weakened out of it right before the wire. But he also had a high weight too that day, which probably wasn't to his liking. But I thought he still ran decently. And then he ran in a Class 2 handicap at York, a mile and a quarter, June the 30th. He finished third by 6 3/4 lengths, improvement off the race before. But again, he still never quickened up. And then they ran this horse at King Edward at Ascot, where he finished 7th by 6 lengths at 14-1. I think he was a little bit overbet that afternoon. He just weakened out of it. He didn't stay that mile and a half. But the mile and a quarter chip should suit him well. The good going should suit him. Ryan Moore up. I think at 3-1, he's a live horse here. I also think the 4-horse Setting Sail is a live horse. James Doyle's on this one for Godolphin again. 4-year-old gelding by Dancel. So both of my horses are desired by Dancel. Both of them are geldings. But Charlie Appleby trains the horse's most recent outing came the 11th of May at Ascot, yielding ground a mile and a half in a Class 3 handicap. He finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths. And, he stepped up in class that day. First time against winners. It's going to be second time against winners. And he just weakened out of it. That was a very weird run. But I want to solely base it on the ground was good to soft yielding ground, which I don't think he liked. Hopefully with the dry ground today, he should get around the race course well. Also, you either like Ascot or you don't like Ascot. I don't think he really liked it. But before that, he ran at Wolverhampton, a mile and a half on the Tapeta in a Class 5, and he won by a half a dozen that day. He just quickened up nicely, 91 cents a dollar, even with a heavyweight. He ran a good race first off the break, and then a good win on soft ground back in September, a mile and a quarter in Class 3 maiden. He won by half length, and he just won for fun. He's another horse he'll like the mile 2 for a long trip. He has a good posture, and I think at 5-1, he's a live horse, so I'll use both of them. So to recap my selections for the fourth, the 345 from Epsom, it's the Investec Wealth and Investment Handicap. I'll use the 5-horse Elector as a top selection, but I'll also use the 4-horse Setting Sail also. I'll go 5-4-2 in the TriCast trifecta. So let's get to the featured 5th race. Race number 5 from Epsom, the 430. It is the featured Group 1 Investec Oaks. It's a Group 1 race for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $670,500. This race is for 3-year-old fillies here. We have 14 horses going the distance of ground of 2,400 meters or a mile and 1/2 on the turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Fleeting. I'm going to go 4-1-8-2. 4-1-8-2. That's my top 4 here. And we'll talk about those 4 horses, and also we're going to talk about all the other horses here and my thoughts about them. But first we'll talk about my top selection of 4-horse Fleeting. 3-year-old filly by Zoffany. Wayne Lorden's on this one for the Coolmore Group and Aidan O'Brien. Wayne Lorden, he's looking for his first victory in this race, but I think this horse is, she's going to stay the trip well, and I think she's sitting on a good run. Her most recent outing came the 5th of May at Newmarket, 1 mile in the Group 1, 1,000 guineas. She finished 15th by 11 lengths, and she never got into it. I just don't think she likes a mile. I think the mile 4 furlongs today should suit her well. She's going to get a lot more time to get things going, and I think second off the break, also with, like I said, with the added distance, I think she's sitting on a good run. But like I said, she needed the race there. The stablemate Hermosa, who I thought would run here today, actually in the Oaks, not in the Irish Guineas last week. Hermosa ran a hell of a race in both those races. But this horse, like I said, she's going to do well with the added trip. Before that, she ran 13th of September at Doncaster, 1 mile in the Group 2 May Hill Stakes. The horse won by 1.5 lengths there, and she just won for fun. She quickened up nicely, and it was a very good run there. And then before that, the last time when Lauren rode the horse was in the Group 3 Flamataro Stakes at the Curragh, 1 mile September the 1st. The horse finished third by 3 lengths. Again, she didn't weaken out of it, but she stayed the trip well. She wants the longer trip, I think. And then at the Curragh in the Group 3, in the Group 3 Grange Con Stud Stakes. She finished 7th by 12 lengths there, and that day she just never had the trip, and the winner So Perfect was just so perfect that day. But like I said, I think the mile 4 furlong trips would suit her well. She has a slightly wide post draw here, but I think she can overcome it, and I think she's sitting on the race for her life at 30-1. I'll take her. Another horse I would use, who I think the second this winner would be the one horse Annapurna. This 3-0 for the bay Frankel. Frankie Dettori gets like it for John Gosden. The horse is most recent out. Came the 11th of May at Lingfield, 1.5 in the Oaks Trial. She won by 6 lengths there, and she could have won by more, but Frankie on the very soft ground just, pulled the horse up at the end. It doesn't get any easier than that. First time against stakes horses. Before that, she ran Class 5 mains fillies at Lingfield, Monocord, 30th of January. First time against older horses. She won by 5 that day, and again she just had a good posture, and she just quickened up nicely. She was much the best there, but it was against nobodies. And then she ran a few weeks earlier at Wolverhampton, 1800 meters, a mile and 1/8 in a Class 5 novice. She finished 9th by 17 lengths, and she just never was comfortable there. She had a lot of 2-year-old antics, so she needed to get used to the goings, but she should like the 1.5 trip. I think she'll like the going. She has a good posture, and she has a good duo that trains and rides the horse, Frankie and John Gosden. They both won the race 2 years ago with Enable, and Enable since then has been pretty perfect. And John Gosden has won the race by himself without Frankie. Also, he won in 2014 also, so he knows how to win the race. But I think this horse should come to the race well. 6-1. I'll use her also. The 8-horse Maxad, another good horse here. 3-year-old filly here. Jim Crowley gets leg up for William Haggis. This horse, his most recent outing came in listed stakes at Newmarket a few weeks ago, 1.25 May the 5th, and she won by 5, and she was just much the best. She quickened up nicely. It was a very good run. Before that, it means Class 4 fillies race in Newmarket, 1 mile during the Craven meeting. She won by a nose. She had to get that good turn of foot. She finally did late in the race. She held on. It wasn't the most impressive victory, but she got the job done. And then her 2-year-old racing, she ran good in spots and good in other spots and not so good in other spots. But she's a weird horse. My thoughts on her today: she's either going to run a massive race or she's going to finish way out of it. She's a horse, I'm on the fence about. I like her third best here. The number 2 horse here, Blue Gardenia. She's at 60-1, but I think she's a horse. If there's going to be a random result, I think she could possibly get a piece of it. 3-0 filly by Master Craftsman. Jamie Spencer gets leg up for David Amira. This horse is going to have to jump a few numbers to win here, but she ran the Musadora a few weeks ago at York, 1.25, where she finished 5th by 3 lengths. And I thought she stayed the trip well. The extra 2 furlongs should suit her. But first off the break, like I said, I thought she ran well. Before the listed stakes at Newmarket, 1 mile November 3rd, she won by a neck that day, and again she quickened up nicely in the front end, and it was a very good run there. And then mains filly at Doncaster going the mile trip. She finished 2nd by 4 lengths. She wasn't going to catch the winner, but I still thought she ran well. She's the kind of horse I think she'll like the 1.5 trip. She gets a good posture, and like I said, if there's going to be a random result, I think it's going to be her. I might do a small each way wager on her for some just to have, my options covered, but I'll definitely use her in the place pod. So, I talked about the horses I'll be using here. Let's talk about the other horses I won't be using here. Starting off with the number 3 horse, Delphinia. Shamie Haverman's on this one for Aidan O'Brien. This horse, he ran okay last time out in Ireland at Nice, but, he's just a little bit too inconsistent. Hasn't really run that good race for me. I'm not going to use it. The 5 horse, Frankelina, she finished 2nd in the Musadora very nicely last week, but I just don't think the 1.5 is going to be to her liking. Also, she's from 14 of 14, which is very hard to win here. I would like her with a decrease in distance. 6 horse Lavender Blue. This horse is stepping a major class here today. I just don't see this horse getting a piece of it. The 7 horse Manula De Vega. This horse I have to say ran decently at Chester behind the other Gosden horse here, but all the best races I thought for her have come on wet ground. Going to see a dry ground here today, and I'm just, it's just not. I just don't fancy her here. We already talked about the 8 horse. The 9 horse, Medea, John Gosden, Rab Havlin gets the leg up. It would be really cool for Rab Havlin to get the victory here for his long-time employer, John Gosden. But, this horse, I just think she's stepping up in loads of class, and I just don't think she's ready for it. Also, I just don't know about the 1.5-mile trip. She did handle Mott's Rates last time out, but that was on very demanding ground, which some horses just hated. Go watch the replay. A lot of the horses just weren't liking the going, but she did. She stayed on the front end throughout. But I just don't fancy her here. I think she'll do better later on in the year, but here I'm just not gonna use her. Peachtree, Donegal O'Brien's on the 10 horse here. Again, it didn't show a lot last time out in Ireland. It hasn't showed a lot in her career. She'll get the distance, but it's just a hard use. She hasn't really showed that good race to me yet. The 11 horse Pink Dogwood, she did win at Navan a few weeks ago, and she did run a decent 5th place finish in Longchamp back in the fall. But she's the kind of horse she just hasn't really got to that the next level yet. It's just she's a weird horse. If I had to give you a 5th horse, my top 5, she would be number 5 here. She's just, like I said, she's a weird horse. I would like her at a mile and a quarter, but I don't fancy her here. The 11 horse, the 12 horse SH Boom, Tom Quilly's on this one. I just don't think this horse is going to get a piece of it. She just really hasn't run that good race, and the races she has run where she's won have been against some very subpar horses, and I just don't see her getting it here. 13 horse Turnawa. Chris Hayes is on this one for Dermot Weld. This horse ran well in Ireland a few weeks ago, and has been running well this season, but I just don't know if the mile and a half is going to be to her liking, because she was under the drive for the mile and a quarter, and the 14 horse Tatuke, Tadike, whatever the hell the horse's name is. Pardon me if I keep mispronouncing the horse's names wrong. This horse, it ran decently at Lingfield, but but that was behind Annapurna, who was just ran that better race. But this horse, she was second best. She did do well at Chelmsford in the fall, but again, those against lesser quality horses, she'll definitely get the trip. But I just think the class of the other horses are just a lot better than this one, and again, she'll have a good year, but just not here. But to recap my selections now for the 5th, the 4:30 from Epsom, it's the Group 1 Investec Oaks. As my top selection, I'll use the 4 horse Fleeting as my top 4. Basically, I would go 4, 1, 8, 2, and I'll give you my top 5. Like I said, I'll go 4, 1, 8, 2, 11. That's the top 5. I'm going to do probably a nice each way wager on Fleeting, the 4 horse. I'm definitely going to do an exacta key or exacta box here, 4, 1, 8, 2. I'll do a 4 horse exacta box for $1 here in America. It's going to cost you $12, so it's very affordable, and I'll definitely use all 4 of these horses in the place pot. But to recap, my top selection here in the Oak is the 4 horse Fleeting, and like I said, Annapurna looks like she could be loaded also. So now let's get to race number 6 from Epsom. The 5:15, the 6th race from Epsom. It is the Surrey Stakes. It's a listed stakes for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $64,000. Races for 3-year-olds only. 8 horses are going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with 5 horse Urban Icon. I'm going to go 5-3-6 in the trifecta. 5-3-6 trifecta. Top selection of 5 horse Urban Icon. This 3-year-old colt here by Cityscape. Tar Marquand gets leg of Richard Hannon. The horse's most recent outing came the 4th of May at Newmarket, 1 mile on good ground in the Group 1 2,000 guineas, and he finished 8th by 6.5 lengths. Magnic Reach ran a hell of a race that day, but then ran a shit race in the Irish 2000 last week, but that day nobody was catching him. This horse, he stayed the trip well, but he was just outclassed by the others. I think a step down class here, back to a 7 furlong trip. I think he'll really do well. Before that, he ran the 13th of April in Newbury, 7 furlongs on good to soft yielding ground in the Group 3 Greenham Stakes. He finished 3rd by 3 lengths, and I thought, he stayed the trip well, had a decent turn of foot. I thought he ran decently there, first off the break, a long break to be exact. Before that, he ran the 12th of June at Salisbury, his firm ground, 6 furlongs in a Class 4 novice auction. He won by 3.5, quickened him nicely, a very easy run, and then he broke the main at Windsor, going 6 furlongs last May, very nice by 3.5. I think the mile trips should suit him well, or excuse me, the 7 furlong trips should suit him well. Good poster, should handle the going. Step down in class at 3-1. I think he's a very likely winner here, so I'll take him as a top selection. So to recap my selection for the 6th, 5:15 from Epsom, it's the Surrey Stakes. Let's go with the 5-horse Urban Icon. I'm going to go 5-3-6 in the Tri-Cash trifecta to race number 7. The nightcap on Oaks Day from Epsom, the 7th race to 5:50. It is the Investec Zebra Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a purse $64,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Horses rated 81 to 100. We have a field of 12 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 8-horse War Glory. I'm going to go 857 in the Tri-Cash trifecta. 857 Tri-Cash trifecta. Top selection 8-horse War Glory. The 6-year-old gelding by Canford Cliffs. Sean Levy gets leg up for Richard Hannon. The horse's most recent outing came last Thursday on the 23rd of May at Sandown. Good going, 1 mile in Class 3 handicap. The horse finished second by a neck. He stayed the trip well. He had a good turn of foot. It was a good race there. It wasn't as good as the race before, which came in the 11th of May at Lingfield on soft ground. 1 mile Class 3 handicap. He won by 1.5 lengths. He quickened up nicely, and he just went away with it. A very good run there. And then at Haydock on soft ground, 27th of April, 1 mile Class 2. He finished 6th by 9.5 lengths there. He was just, the horses in front of him were just much the best. And, he just kind of weakened out of it. It wasn't the day to win. When it's soft at Haydock, it's the softer side of softs, if that even makes sense. It's usually very wet up there, and some horses just don't handle it. I don't think he handled it there. And then before that, Bath on complete opposite of soft, very firm ground. 1 mile in a Class 2 handicap, finished 6th by 3 lengths. He was drawn wide. Again, you don't want to be wide at Bath. It wasn't his day to win. And then at Nottingham, again, first off the break, wide postra, going a mile. He finished 4th by 6 lengths, and again, he just never got into it. But his last 2 were very nice. Gets Levy back up, gets good weight, gets a good postra, 5-1. I think he get a piece of it, so I'll take him as a top selection. So to recap my selection for the 7th from Epsom, the 5:50, it's the Investec Zebra handicap. Gonna go with the 8-horse War Glory. I'll go 857 in the Tri-Cash trifecta. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And remember to join me tomorrow for my Epsom Derby preview video. Like I said, Saturday's card looks very nice here. And remember to join me on Sunday for my Preview Jockey Club preview video from Shanti.